this is Paul. Yes. Uh-huh. The thief cometh not, but the thief came, yes, to steal, to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Ooh. But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth. The wolf catches them, and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth, because he is an hireling, and careth not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. As a father knoweth me, even so know I, the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Now, I just wanted to mention this idea, right? That you're a hireling. Yeah. You're employed in the government. And as soon as I mention that I'm going to sue you and have you prosecuted, your immediate response is to steal, kill, and to destroy. Now, my thought is, right, that Jesus came to give me life and life more abundantly. And I'm not living the life that Jesus came to give me. See, I've told you, yes, what city law says, what state law says, what the United States laws say, and your thought was, well, we will continue to deceive ourselves in the thought, yes, that unless we're arrested, we are not going to enforce the laws. Now, this is somewhat defeatist, because as soon as you know of a crime, you have the obligation for the enforcement of the law, yes. Now, all of those that said, well, we're going to deprive him the use of the courts, we're going to keep his sons, and we are going to continue to ignore what the law says. You will find that you will get prosecuted. See, the law has to be enforced. You cannot say somebody's crazy, yes, when you know they didn't commit any crime. Yeah. You can't prosecute people that you have no evidence against. Yes. And you've done this multiple times over the last 8 years. Right. Now, these malicious prosecutions, they are actual hate crimes. And I am going to want to sue you and have you prosecuted. Now, for all of those that deny any knowledge of programming, yes, you deny the Mormon way. Poop. But in your way, you love me. Let's say I'm that big 600-pound gorilla. Yeah. And I'm walking through the forest and I see another female gorilla and I decide I want her. Now, gorillas probably don't have a lot to say about the sexuality that they experience. Now, but as a big gorilla, when I want a woman, I want her. Now, I'm going to want to speak to Marilyn today about being the big gorilla in her life. Now, it's so cute, isn't it? Now, there was another gorilla, yes, that I'm wanting to look for today. Yes, the gorilla that we never talk about, unless, of course, there's a credit crisis. Does somebody remember the last credit crisis where I experienced a foreclosure? Oh, where we handed out $1 trillion to save the economy? Yes, yes, yes. See, they never talk about the gorilla, but it happens to be the hedges of the $400 trillion worth of mortgages. Yes. Now, more recently, yes, we have. We've been talking about the various mortgages and the mortgage-backed securities. Yes. But there seemed to be a way of accounting for the insurances of the individual mortgages that are insured. That's right. That there was no accounting for them during the last credit crisis. Yeah. They didn't know how they'd hedged them. Yes. They didn't know what securities were bought and sold as an insurance. Yes. During the last credit crisis because there was no computer. See, there were little slips of paper. Yep. Let's say you issued $1 million mortgage. Pow! And you collateralized it? Yes. You had one of these mortgage-backed securities. But you know how it is in investment banking. Those that made the money were those that insured the mortgages. Now, today, as that big gorilla of the United States of America, I'm going to want the mortgages of all private colleges and universities. That's right. I'm going to want the mortgages of all private hospitals. As much as we don't think that they finance these various private institutions that look like a public university, yes, I do, or they look like a public hospital. A lot of private businesses that call themselves schools and hospitals actually have a little mortgage that they never talk about as their long-term debt because it's good for you. You can deduct it off your taxes. But a lot of these large institutions, Harvard, Princeton, Notre Dame, Gonzaga, they are actually involved in what is known as collateralized mortgage-backed securities. Oh, I'm just wanting to know the insurers, yes, of all those bonds that happen to have all that debt, yes, were they sold to some third party? Poop! The actual insurance on the mortgages, they paid to insure them. Not that Gonzaga would fail, or Notre Dame, or any of these private Catholic or Christian universities and colleges. And not that the Franciscans would fail. But I am wanting to know the actual amount paid. Ouch, as a hedge against the failure of these private institutions. Yes, he does. And then I want to know the actual mortgage value of all private Christian and Catholic universities and colleges throughout the United States of America. You would have thought that after emailing Gonzaga about my civil rights being violated, you would have, that somebody would say, well, we better enforce the laws today. Now, quite possibly when I sue for the actual ownership, yes, of various institutions throughout Catholicism, the individuals that are holding the check right now, they're going to say, oh my gosh, you failed. Look at, he just sued us.